This is English Shorthand Dictation number 279. Dictation speed 120 words per minute. Ready? Start. Sir, I rise to support the demands that have been placed before the House by the Home Minister. Sir, I need not remind the House that this year the Home Ministry's demands are being discussed in a context which can be described as almost unprecedented. It is for the first time that we are discussing the demands of this ministry after the country passed through the period of the emergency that rocked the very basic structure of the Constitution and our policy, and made the common people of our country realize what they have lost with the eclipse of their fundamental rights and freedom. Sir, the 19 months of rule marked the culmination of a concerted effort to undermine democracy. Those who wanted to destroy the democracy and convert our system into a totalitarian system had looked upon the ministry as the main instrument for forcing their will on the nation. They wanted to substitute the rule of law with a reign of terror, to place individuals above the law, to provide immunity to those whom the group liked, and to harass all those who were looked upon as dangerous to the monopoly of power that the extra-constitutional group wanted to preserve. The then Home Minister was himself a captive of this group. It was practically a totalitarian regime and was therefore bound to be a police regime. That is why I would request the Home Minister that the whole police department should be thoroughly overhauled. Sir, I do not want to take the time of the House by listing the various agencies that were set up in the police department and the home department during the emergency. And before that, I also do not want to take the time of the House in describing the fabulous amounts of money that had been placed at the disposal of RAW and other agencies. Even the money was placed at the disposal of certain individuals, and that was exempted from the scrutiny of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India or the Parliament. I do not want to go into all these details, but I would only request the Home Minister to go into these things and ensure that such things do not happen in future. Under these circumstances, the task of the Home Minister is therefore one of dismantling the police state that was built up by the previous government. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, in the course of his reply, the Honorable Minister referred to some of the remarks made on the 18th while replying to question number 4, and he said that his remarks were misunderstood by some of the members. Sir, I really admire my honorable friend for making a reference to it, but if I say that some ministers in the Council of Ministers at the center are wise, how will you take it? Of course, in his buoyancy, he made that statement. I do not know whether he really intended it, but it only meant that some members in the opposition are wise and some are foolish. Of course, taken in a lighter vein, it means nothing, but I think such a statement as a whole could have been avoided. Now, sir, I welcome some of the statements made by him, and I submit that in April the vacancies were 64 and in July the vacancies were 67. According to his own analysis of the disease of arrears and pendency of cases in the Supreme Court and in the High Courts, the judges' strength was less, and therefore this backlog is there. Now, the pendency as on 31st December 1987 was 5.5 lakhs. It has now exceeded 6 lakhs. On that day in the Delhi High Court, the pendency was around 2,000. Now, the pendency is over 25,000. The sanctioned strength of the Delhi High Court is 18 permanent judges and 3 additional judges. The Delhi High Court has 5 service judges, out of whom 2 are from outside. In principle, I have no objection to judges being brought from other states. Among the 5 service judges, at least 2 are to be from outside. That means 3 are from Delhi. The judges from the subordinate judiciary do not get any chance of promotion. I have worked it out, and I find that promotion is given to only about 40% of the judges from the service cadre. Therefore, they do not have the necessary incentive. I think something has to be done in this regard also, to give proper incentives to the judges from the subordinate judiciary. If among the subordinate judiciary there are efficient and competent people, they should be promoted as High Court judges. Of course, it will boost the morale of these judges. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, I am happy that this discussion is taking place on the problem of arrears, because there is no doubt that the most serious problem that the entire system of administration of justice is facing today is the problem of arrears. Evidently, it is on account of these arrears that delays take place in settling the disputes. And if delays take place in settling the disputes, the very purpose of settling them is defeated. If a person has a legal problem and somebody is contravening his legal right, unless he can have the redress within a reasonable time, hardly any purpose would be served by providing a procedure for redressal of grievances. I am entirely in agreement with the honorable member who has spoken on this half an hour discussion, highlighting the problem of arrears pending in various courts. Now, sir, as I submitted in this house on the last occasion when this matter was being discussed in answer to a question, I had pointed out, and I still maintain my view, that the most important factor which is responsible for these delays in the high courts and these growing arrears in the high courts is insufficient strength of judges in the various high courts. Now, sir, I would choose the conference of the Chief Justices, the yardstick which has been uniformly accepted by every authority who has the experience of working in the high courts, is that 650 cases per judge will be applied in determining the average. There are some big cases, there are some short cases, and so on. The judges may also sit on benches. 2 judges may sit on a bench for hearing a case. But the overall calculation is that an average of 650 cases per judge per year is considered as proper and reasonable rate of disposal. Every year we know how many cases are being instituted. Of course, there are various factors responsible for the increase in the number of cases by which the existing rights and liabilities of the people are being altered. I rise to support the bill as it has emerged from the Joint Committee. While doing so, I wish to make some observations generally and also in respect of certain clauses. The objects of the bill as originally introduced have been enumerated like this, that a litigant should get a fair trial in accordance with the accepted principles of natural justice.